at another one. We've got, on problem C, we've got 20 plus 5m plus 12n plus 3mn. Let's take a look at the first two, because again, we don't have anything that matches between all four, so I have to group this in pairs of two, because it's 4 terms. We're going to do grouping. So let's look at the first two and the second two. Well, let's see, what do the first two have in common? Well, not much. We have the number 20 and the number 5. Those are both divisible by 5, so I can pull out a factor of 5. Dividing out a factor of 5 from the 20 leaves me with a 4 plus. Pulling out the 5 from the second piece just leaves me with an m. Pulling down the plus sign. Now, what do the second two have in common? Well, let's take a look. The second two, we have a 12 and a 3. That means they're both divisible by 3. They also both have an n in them, so I can also pull out an n. So let's see what's left over. So pulling out the 3 from the 12 leaves me with a 4 plus, we pulled out the n. On the next piece, we're pulling out the 3 and the n, which will leave us with just the m. Notice, what do we have that matches perfectly if we zoom out a little bit? Is we have a matching 4 plus m. Don't switch around the order, leave it as it is. We have a matching 4 plus m. We have to leave it exactly like that. And notice, we do really care that they're exactly the same. They both have the 4 first, and they both have a positive m second. So 4 plus m is matching, so we can pull that out of both pieces. Now the question is, what's going to be left over inside of our second set of parentheses now? Well, our leftovers after we pull out this 4 plus m is going to be a 5 plus 3n. So that's going to be our final answer, is our 4 plus m times our 5 plus 3n. Or again, just like before, you could have the 5 plus 3n first and the 4 plus m second. Now, if you look at the next one, if I were to start rewriting it, what I would notice is that the r squared and the second term that they've got listed is the negative 9tw don't have anything in common. Be careful, that does not mean that this can't be factored. It means I need something else to go with the r squared. So I can either pick the 3rw or the 3rt. It doesn't actually matter. We'll get the same answer either way. So it's really up to you. And we can actually do this both ways. So I'm going to put it with the 3rw first. Okay, so I've used the r squared and the 3rw. Now the problem is I've got 2 pieces left, and I don't know which needs to go first and second. That is a little bit of a problem, because it does matter which comes first and which comes second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of quote-unquote cheat a little bit, and I'm going to see what I need to have happen, because remember, I need things to match up. So I'm going to do my first pair first and see what they have in common and kind of see what's going to happen, kind of predict the future. Well, if I look at my first pair here, they have in common that they both have an r. So I can pull out an r from both of those. And what it'll leave me with, if I pull out one of the r's, is it'll still leave me with an r, plus, pulling out the r from the second piece will leave me with a 3w. Okay, the question is, how does that help me with my other 2 pieces that I haven't even looked at yet? Well, what it tells me is that my first piece, because I'm going to want these to match when I'm done, needs to have the r in it, and my second piece should have the w in it. So I need to have the one with the r first, the negative 3rt, and the one with the w, the negative 9tw second. Because remember, the goal is that our pieces have to match at the end. This kind of is my way of making sure. So now let's look at our second group now. We've got them all set up and in the correct order. Hopefully we'll double check that as we go along. Notice the first term is negative. We just talked about this earlier in the section. If the first term is negative, we pull out the negative with whatever else is our GCF. What else do we have? They both have a 3 and a 9, so they're both divisible by 3, so I can pull out a 3. And they both have a t, so I can also pull out a t from both. And then my leftovers will go inside of their own set of parentheses, so I'm pulling out a negative 3t. So pulling out this negative and the 3 will make this a positive, and I'm pulling out the t, which will just leave me with the r. Now, also dividing out the negative 3 from the negative 9 will now give me a positive 3. I'm pulling out the t as well, so I'll only have the w. Now, let's zoom out. The reason why all this worked out so well is because now I have a matching r plus 3w. Now, notice, had you forgotten to switch the signs out here because you pulled out the negative, you would catch it right now. Why? Because your two pieces here would not match. They match because we did it right. If they don't match, it's because you made a mistake. So, we can pull out the matching r plus 3w, and that will leave us with what's left over is the r minus 3t. And again, you can go ahead and FOIL this out if you want to double check. Let's redo the same problem in the other direction as well, though. So we've already done problems A, B, C, and we're going to redo